Hey everyone, Dan at Bushcraft. Well, today guys, we're gonna make a wood mallet. Wood mallets are they're fun to make and they're fun to use. You can use them around camp, and there is no set rule that says a mallet has to be a certain size. There is a technique for constructing one, making one so that it is sturdy and doesn't break. For example, you wouldn't want a great big round head that was way out here 2 feet away and a long skinny handle, because the force of the impact, it would break. So there are some guidelines to follow, but again, there is no set standard that says a mallet has to be this big around or has to be this big around. You can use a small piece of wood like this and make a small mallet, maybe for some things that you're just doing around camp, real small chores. This is kind of a mid-size mallet that we're going to make. This will be the perfect size for pounding tent stakes, some small stakes into the ground if I want to put up a reflective fire or something. And if I wanted to do something, bigger and heavier, I would just get a bigger diameter piece of wood and make a bigger, fatter head on it. But one of the things I might be doing is pounding some Y sticks, and so too fat of a head is not going to work. So we're going to go ahead and make a couple of these. We're going to make a full-size one, and we're going to make a small one just for fun, something that maybe I'll take it home for a decoration. So basically, I found me a piece of dead wood, and it's a recent fall, so it's still got some good solid weight to it. It's heavy. It's not rotting or falling apart or anything, but if you're in a survival situation, that's one thing. But I had the opportunity this morning to wander around and find some trees that had recently fallen, and just happened to be lucky enough to find something that, like I said, was still nice and solid and had some good weight to it. So what I'm going to do, this is the bigger end here, and I'm going to turn this bigger end into a mallet and the smaller end into a handle. And here's how we're going to do it. We're going to start out by sawing. Figure out, let me turn you guys here. Figure out exactly how big I want my head and how big I want my handle, how long I want my handle. So my handle is going to be down here, and I think a nice, big, useful head would, just by appearance, would probably be right about there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some cuts. And I think I'll turn this around and hold it on this side. There we go. So I'm going to make about 4 cuts. And I'm going to go in, depending on the diameter and how big I want it, I'm going to cut in 1/2 inch, maybe to start with on all 4, because I can always take more off, but once I take it off, I can't put it back on. So it's better to be on the safe side and just not take off quite as much. So I think I'll just make like a 1/2 inch cut on 4 sides. Using my Silky Outback Pocket Boy. Okay. So I basically went on 4 sides, made me a cut. This one will make a little deeper. And I could hold this solid, or I didn't have the setup here in front of the camera. All right, pause you guys for just a second. Okay, I grabbed me a small baton. I don't know if this one's going to work real good. It's kind of rotted. I may break it and have to get another one, but we'll start with that. So I'm going to take my Becker BK9, and basically what I'm going to do, those cuts, those 4 cuts I made, I'm going to chop down to those 4 cuts and take those sections off. So I'm in about a 1/2 inch, about the same distance that my cut goes in. I've got the cut on 4 sides. I'm just going to take those 4 sections off. So you can see there was my cut right there. I've taken that off. And again, it's okay to take off sections that are too small because I can keep taking more off. But if I take too much off, I can't go back and put it back on. And that's the thing you want to probably remember most of all when you're doing one of these, is you can't put it back if you take off too much. So 2 sides. I don't have a real even working place here. That's making it a little tougher. Okay, and 4th side. Ah, there went my baton. Okay. Now on that one, what I did is I actually went in a little farther than my cut. So rather than breaking that out of there, I'll just go back in here and saw that piece a little deeper. There we go. So now we have, we'll call it the framework for our mallet. We can kind of see what's going on here. I've got this big round head that I'm going to be pounding with. This is going to be awesome for putting tent stakes in and some small stakes if I want to make like a reflective fire. It's not going to be so big that I can't hammer some Y sticks in. So what I need to do, I'm going to take some more sections off this handle. So I'm going to do the same thing again, only this time I'm going to take these corners off. See that? So I'm going to start rounding this. So I'm going to saw across these 4 sharp corners that I've made from my first go around. And we'll go in about a 1/2, 3/4 of an inch or so. Turn it this way, make it easier. 2. And number 4. Okay, so now we're just going to repeat the process. And I'm going to go grab me another baton. I busted that one, so hang on. Okay, try this with a different baton and see what happens. So the first time I squared this, you can see that's square. So this time all my cuts are on the corners. So I'm going to take those corners off. That's going to start to round this handle. And it's just kind of one of those things. You do these a few times, you'll know just by instinct more and more where you need to make your cuts. So take these 4 corners off that I sawed into. Okay, 1. Get this one off. And I'm deliberately hammering a little bit lighter on this one because I'm making sure the knife is going where I want it to go. So we got 2 off, 2 more to go. Three, and last one over here. I want that one a little more farther in. Okay, so as you can see, our mallet is now starting to take some pretty good shape. So from here, I can, depending on how big I want my handle, I can keep taking off small pieces. In fact, I think I'm going to take this one corner off here a little bit. But just make sure that if you do that, you saw into it so that you don't start splitting out your mallet. So I'm going to take this corner off. Not trying to go too deep. And I'm going to take this corner off right here. So I got 2 corners off. Yellow jackets. Sorry guys. There's actually a yellow jacket nest not very far from me. I just walked up on a minute ago and left that spot real quick. Okay. So I got two spots picked out here I want to take off. That might be a little too narrow. Perfect. That actually was perfect. Yep. And then I got one here on the back side I want to take off. And there we go. The mallet is taking shape. So I think at this point, let's see. See how it's looking here. I think I'll take a couple little more pieces off this way, and then I'm just going to start basically whittling it down after this. And one more here. Again, I'm deliberately pounding slow and angling my knife the direction I want it to go. Yeah, now that's starting to feel good in my hand. What I'm going to do now then is I'm just going to go ahead and start taking some pieces off. Now if I want bigger pieces, I'll do some chopping like this. Might even switch over to my hatchet. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just take and start rounding off these corners that are kind of sticking out. You can see there. Here's another one. Till I got that handle down. Now I don't want the handle to get too thin because I don't want it to be weak when I pound with it. So you don't want a real thin handle. Now that feels really good in my hand right there. This bottom piece is just about right. So I'm going to give it the finishing touches, and that is just taking off any places that are sticking out, or if I want the handle to be just a little smaller around. Yeah, that's looking good. That is looking just right. Yep, so now that's comfortable. So right here where I'm holding, I've got this part pretty much the same diameter. That's where I'm going to grip it. And then it's gradually getting thicker and right up to where my mallet is. And so whatever I would decide that I want to pound, I said tent stakes, maybe some that I've carved. Whatever project I'm making, right now I'm making sticks in a stump. Don't ask me why. It's a new bushcraft game I just invented. How many sticks can you pound into the stump? I like it. So there it is, guys. That's how I make a mallet. I'm sure that there's other ways of doing it. And there's, if you want to get fancy, you know, I can take my knife later sitting around the fire and start taking off these rougher edges and smoothing it up more. But I just want a working tool. So the base right here where my handhold is perfect. It's big enough to where it's not going to be fragile, but this, I can close my hand around it, and as you just saw, and I got all this weight up here. And you know, if you need a bigger, heavier mallet, you just start with a bigger piece of wood, do the same process. And if for whatever reason you need a little baby mallet, you can do one of those too. And I thought it would be kind of fun just to do one, just to see what it would turn out like. So that's the smaller end. Handhold about here. Yeah, we'll do a baby mallet. So I'm going to do my 4 corners, 4 sides, I mean, 1/4, 1/2 inch each, because this is a smaller piece of wood. And then carefully, and now that I have a mallet, I'll use my mallet to help make a mallet. Okay, so carefully, because it's a smaller piece of wood, I'll take off my 4 sides. Using my freshly made mallet. There's one. Two. Three, and backside here. 4. So I got my 4 sides, and I'm going to do the same thing and take those corners off. Now I'm working with a pretty small handle, so I'm going to be careful, and I'm only going to make like a 1/4 inch cut. That's it. Yeah, because if I take too much, I'm not going to have any strength. And I'm going to switch from my BK9 over to my little Becker BK14 and be a little bit more careful. And just trying to take these corners off carefully. You see that peeling? And I'm deliberately sloping my blade. I've got my blade tilted slightly in so that it keeps taking this piece off and doesn't come down halfway and break off. Oh, nice. That came off nicely. So let's see if we can do that 3 more times. One, two, right. So this one, like I said, is just for fun, but I think I know a perfect use for it. I'm going to take those big rough corners off. That's perfect. And then my hand right here, So we'll just give myself a smaller, smoother handhold. Oh yeah, that's going to be nice. I like that. I like that. And so for whatever project, I'm playing my stump game again. How many sticks can you pound in a stump? So there's a baby baton. It's got kind of a long handle. I probably should have made the upper section a little fatter. Should have made this about 1 inch longer here and the handle shorter. But again, there's no right way or wrong way. So this obviously is going to be a fantastic working camp tool, as you just saw, for putting tent stakes in the ground, hammering in Y sticks, maybe putting some stakes in if I'm building a reflective fire, if I'm, pounding some sticks in to cook off of whatever. This is just going to be an awesome working tool for any type of pounding. And as you see, if I need a baton, now I have a baton that's not going to break anytime soon, like the ones I was just grabbing up earlier. Now this one, this little baby, we're going to call it a baby mallet. I'm thinking you're eating lunch and some sneaky squirrel decides he's going to come up the stump and try to steal your lunch. Bad squirrel. Maybe not. I think I'm actually going to take this one home and I'll shorten up the handle a little bit and smooth it up and just make this one into a little decoration. So there it is, guys. Dan at Ochiko Bushcraft. How I make a baton. Hope you liked the video. Take care, everybody.